game.
That question, because the teams are coming out right now, and I want you to enjoy this atmosphere as much as we are at the Stadium of Light. This is the big one as the playoffs get underway in the Championship. Here at the Stadium of Light, it's Sunderland versus Luton Town. Your commentary team, former Sunderland winger Mickey Gray, alongside Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, John. For so long, Sunderland were a laughingstock and crumbled under the pressure, but when it was least expected, they are delivering. And Luton are also unlikely contenders, but they've been around the top for some time, and they also travel very well. So it is a fascinating playoff semi-final. One of these teams will head to Wembley and be 90 minutes away from the Premier League. And Mickey Gray, the Sunderland fans are up for it. Will their team be? Because here this season so often they've been found wanting.
Well, you'd like to think so on an occasion like this, Nigel, wouldn't you? A full house. Who wouldn't want to play in the Stadium of Light in front of 42,000? This is what you start as a young man, and you want to try and earn your trade playing in games like this. I mean, this atmosphere in this stadium is going to be absolutely electric. You don't want to be the player who lets everybody down. You want to be the hero, and that's exactly what these 11 players walking out onto the pitch right now are thinking in their minds.
Well, plumes of flames shoot up into the Wearside sky here as the two sides emerge from the tunnel some way beneath us here at the Stadium of Light. The Sunderland players get a tremendous ovation. The Luton Town fans are high up away to our left-hand side, and their team made a point of heading to that end of the stadium to recognise their support before kick-off. That didn't go down too well with the locals, but they simply don't care, and they know they have travelled as contenders with very little expectations for so much of the season, but their away form has been superb, and they will have no fears here at all today. Sunderland, of course, won the playoffs in League One last season. Luton Town have never won a playoff game in 9 previous attempts in either the EFL or the National League. But this season, they have had the look of a side who just know how to get the job done.
Absolutely, Nigel. They've been organised. It's a squad of players that have pretty much been together. They know the system that they play. They're very difficult to play against, and they get their job done more often than not. They score goals. They know how to keep clean sheets. And Sunderland have got to be on their game today. No question about it. The final day of the season, I was at Preston to see a great performance, certainly in the second half. It's a young side. Well, as I mentioned, Nigel, if you can't take advantage of this 12th man today, then you've got serious problems, and that's what the home side have to do.
The Sunderland team out on the field wearing their 1973 tracksuit tops, of course, the anniversary of the famous FA Cup victory over Leeds passed earlier this week. Luton Town, with a real sense of togetherness, have a pre-match huddle away to our left-hand side. A reminder of the two teams once again. Sunderland, it is Patterson in goal. We think a back three of Hume, O'Nien and Gooch, with Roberts and Clark as wing-backs, Ekwah and Neil holding in midfield, with Pritchard and Diallo either side of Gelhardt in attack. The Luton team is more straightforward, and it's possible that Tony Mowbray has made an attempt to match them up. Horvath in goal, Osho, Lockyer and Bell the back three, Drama, Rudder-Kampanzu, Clark and Nakamba in midfield, with Doughty playing on the left-hand side and Adebayo and Morris in attack. And just listen to the noise from these Sunderland supporters. They've had so long in the doldrums, but they are determined to enjoy their time in the sunshine here today. And our referee, Tim Robinson, beckons the two captains towards him. And now we are ready to get the game underway. The Luton team line up on the edge of the centre circle, which always happens when the opposition choose to take the knee before kick-off. They are wearing their chain strip of dark blue shirts, white shorts and white socks. Sunderland in their famous red and white stripes, black shorts and red socks. And the atmosphere here is sulphurous inside the Stadium of Light at kick-off time. But Luton Town have had a habit of dousing expectations and atmospheres away from home throughout the season. Perfect conditions here on Wearside. Blue skies and sunshine overhead. And an expectant crowd of over 42,000 here today. There will be drama, there will be tears, and there will be glory. The Championship playoffs are underway on the TalkSport network. Luton Town playing from right to left in the first half. A long ball is played forward from them, and I think it will be the first of a number of long balls.
Yeah, absolutely, Nigel. I think they're very direct at times. Luton, not in a bad way. They do it in a certain way because they've got physicality up front, and I'm just looking at that new changing system for Sunderland. Certain players who've played in those positions, talking about the back three, and it's a good opportunity for them just to get off to a good start. But you just want an early touch. You want to calm your nerves as quick as you possibly can.
Hume plays the ball away on this near side, and an opportunity for Roberts to almost shuffle over the halfway line just in front of the technical areas, but he's quickly closed down by Peli Radakampanzu, who is looking to become the first player to be promoted from the National League to the Premier League with the same club. It's only 8 years since Luton ended their long spell in non-league football. Sunderland, of course, spent 4 years in League One, and for a club of this size, that must have felt like non-league football.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You're looking at two sides who've got great history, Nigel, aren't we? But they need to get back into that promised land. Look, there's only one spot left, and you've got 3 huge games, possibly, to try and get yourselves back into the promised land of the Premier League. And this is what it's all about, playing in occasions like this every single week.
Tom Lockyer has gone down on this near side, the Luton Town central defender who was in the Championship Team of the Year, and he was clutching his face, so very quickly the medical team have been ushered on to deal with a head injury here. And we're still trying to work out that Sunderland formation, Mickey Gray.
Yeah.
Look like 3 central defenders. Hume playing to the right of them, O'Nien in the centre, and Gooch on the left. So
yeah,
it's not just square pegs in round holes, it's square pegs in triangular holes.
It certainly is, but the one that worries me, and I know he's played in this position, is Lyndon Gooch. Look, it's not the tallest 3 centre-halves in the world, and when you think of Adebayo and you think of Morris up front, who've got that physicality, that is going to be a real test throughout the whole of this game, no doubt about it. But Lyndon Gooch, I don't know how many times he's played as a left-sided centre-half, but I think the reason being is because you look at the assist of Jack Clark. I don't think Tony Mowbray actually wanted to play him as a left-back. He wants him further up the pitch to cause his problems in the opposition's half. I think he's, 11 assists this season, 7 goals. So he's a threat in the opposition's half, and I think that's why we've got the change in system.
Lockyer coming across towards this near side, and he may have to come off for stitches here as he just ruffles a hand through his hair, but no, he's okay to continue. Has a quick word with Rob Edwards, the Luton Town manager, who lasted only 10 games at Watford earlier this season, but their decision to get rid of him has been to Luton's benefit and also to Rob Edwards' benefit as well, as Roberts hooks the ball away on this near side, playing as a wing-back for Sunderland here. Pritchard on the far side in the sunshine, quickly closes down the run of Cody Drammer, bringing the ball forward, and it will be a throw into Sunderland on the far side, their left. We played 3.5 minutes here at the Stadium of Light on the home of the EFL, TalkSport 2, and it's Sunderland 0, Luton Town 0. The other playoff semi-final will get underway at noon tomorrow over on TalkSport. Coventry against Middlesbrough with Adrian Durham, Ian Danta and Chris Awalamo, as Adebayo brings it forward now for Luton on the far side. A high cross into the penalty area. Morris challenging him. He does well to win the header off balance, but the header towards goal is saved by Patterson. He quickly bowls the ball out, but Osho cuts it out for Luton on this near side. And now Morris with a high ball into the penalty area, looking for Elijah Adebayo, but it was drifted in really and claimed by Anthony Patterson.
Well, certainly the away side have settled better than the home side, no question of that. But I think you can see what Rob Edwards is trying to do. He's looked at those 3 centre-halves. He knows there's a lack of height in there, so he's just trying to get that ball into Morris and Adebayo as much as they possibly can.
And now Gelhardt does well to bring the ball down on the far side, plays it further wide, and there's a break into the penalty area for Clark. He tries to lash the ball in towards the near post, but the angle was tight. It actually hits the stanchion behind that goal, and it's a goal kick to Luton.
And that's one of the big reasons why I think Jack Clark is playing further up the field. He just loves picking that ball up and running towards that byline. This time he just needed to wrap his left foot around the ball a little bit more. Maybe a little bit of nerves in there just at the beginning of the game, but he's such a threat with his energy levels. Causes fullbacks all kinds of problems.
Jack Clark with 11 assists in the Championship this season. No one has had more. But of course, at the other end of the field, Carlton Morris has had his best ever goal-scoring season for Luton Town. 20 goals and also 7 assists as well. A player who was relegated with Barnsley 12 months ago. Barnsley, of course, in the League One playoffs, drawing 1-1 with Bolton here on TalkSport 2 earlier on. Coming up at 7:45 from League 2, we have Salford against Stockport. That semi-final first leg with Mark Wilson and the former Leeds manager Neil Redfern. Bradford against Carlisle is the other League 2 semi-final, and that first leg is at 7 o'clock tomorrow night here on TalkSport 2. We have coverage of every single playoff game across the TalkSport network. As Sunderland win it back on this near side, clipped forward by Neil, looking for Pritchard, but he's quickly closed down by Marvellous Nakamba. But Diallo does well to rob Pelly-Rella Mpanzu, and a loose ball from Mpanzu is being picked up by Clark. He can break towards the penalty area, but Cody Dram was very quick, and he comes back to make the challenge at the expense of the game's first corner.
Well, you can't play around with that ball in that centre circle like Mpanzu did there. He thought he had too much time. Sunderland players pounced upon him, 2 players. Great play from Diallo, just got a little nick on it. It was Jack Clark. He reacted quicker than anybody just to start driving with that ball yet again.
Sunderland work the corner short. Here is Diallo on the edge of the penalty area. The crowd encourage him to shoot. He does left-footed, but he's closed down by Adebayo, and now it's played back towards the halfway line. Gooch now will play it forward towards Pritchard, who receives it on the half turn, sways away from a couple of challenges, almost plays in Gelhardt to the left-hand side of the penalty area, but Luton Town have bodies back there, and it's cleared away on this near side by Amari Bell, who once played under Tony Mowbray at Blackburn Rovers. But the ball drifts out of play. It will be a throw into Sunderland, and it's a frenetic start here at the Stadium of Light. 7 minutes played, and it's still 0-0 on TalkSport 2.
It certainly is, Nigel. The tempo certainly upped in the last minute and a half or so. Alex Pritchard this time showing great feet on the edge of the 18-yard box. Had the chance to get a shot away. Tried to play that little intricate pass that didn't come off for him.
Ekwa wins it back now, just inside the Luton half. Forward again towards Gelhardt, on loan from Leeds, who spins neatly and finds the former Leeds player, Clark, on the left-hand side. He comes in field, but Drama does well to close him down, and it spins back to Lyndon Gooch, the American, who arrived here as a rather flighty right winger, but is now playing as a left-sided central defender. But needs must for Sunderland. Tony Mowbray joked earlier this week the only fit central defender in the club is him. As Morris picks it up now on this near side for Luton, but it's quickly won back. Diallo driving towards the penalty area. A challenge comes in on him, but Pritchard recovers it by the corner flag on this near side. He then goes down under the challenge of Doughty, who won the ball cleanly. A number of rounders wanted a free kick. Adebayo plays it forward, but he's given the ball away. And now Clark in a central area for Sunderland, bearing down on goal. Wide to this near side, the right, and Roberts, who will attack the penalty area. Left-footed curler from him. Oh, it's turned away by the goalkeeper Horvath, and somehow Gelhardt unable to turn the ball in from 6 yards out. But Clark has it again for Sunderland. Wide on the left-hand side. Now Pritchard inside the penalty area, on towards Gelhardt again, but it's overhit, and it's claimed by Horvath. But Mickey Gray, how on earth did Gelhardt fail to give Sunderland the lead there?
Well, he was so close. I mean, whether he thought that it was just going to creep into the bottom corner, but you have to be on your toes. Joe Gelhardt knows that. Brilliant play from Patrick Roberts to just chop in onto his left foot. You can see it curling towards that far post. Great save from Horvath, the Luton goalkeeper there, but I think Geldhardt's got to react a little bit quicker. But what a turn in events over the last couple of minutes. The momentum of the game is just shot through the roof.
9 minutes played, 0-0, but now Luton have it back, and they're so good on the counter-attack away from home, as we've seen throughout the season. A low cross into the penalty area now from Clark. That takes a deflection, and Luton have their first corner on the far side there, right.
Yeah, this has to be a real threat for Luton Town. No question of it. You look at the physical size of some of their players. I'm looking at Sunderland's team. They're not the tallest. You've got the quality from out wide, from set pieces. They can be absolutely huge in games like this.
Luton, of course, lost in the playoffs to Huddersfield last season. And they've been beaten in League Two back in 2017 by Blackpool, and also in League One back in 1997. And they were also beaten 3 times in the playoffs in the National League. Corner for them, driven high to the far post. Morris rising, heads it back into the 6-yard area, looking for Lockyer, headed towards goal by Osho. Adebayo's almost in there, and the ball is eventually driven in, and Elijah Adebayo has given Luton Town the lead. He goes to celebrate with their supporters behind that goal. Sunderland never got to grips with the set piece. It was bobbling around the 6-yard area, and Adebayo kept his cool, and Luton Town, the best away side in the Championship in many people's eyes this season, have taken the lead in this playoff semi-final. It is Sunderland 0, Luton Town 1.
Well, I talked about the threat from set pieces that Luton must have because of the physical presence that they've got in their team. And first corner they get, you can see from the back stick, you know, it's 6'4" players playing against 5'8" players. You've got absolutely no chance. They keep it alive. Sunderland aren't able to clear their lines, and Adebayo's just in a perfect spot. I think it's Patterson who pulls off a brilliant save in a 1v1 situation just before. And Adebayo's just got to poke that ball into the back of the net to give the away side an early commanding lead in this playoff semi-final.
Well, Luton have not lost away from home since Rob Edwards' first game in charge down the A19 at Middlesbrough back on the 10th of December. 12 games unbeaten away from home since then, 14 games unbeaten to finish the season. Of course, Sunderland had their own unbeaten run. They're currently on a run of 4 wins and 5 draws to sneak into the playoffs on the final day. But Luton Town have been such a tough nut to crack away from home, and they already have the lead, and they have punctured the atmosphere here.
Without a doubt. Another thing, Nigel, that Rob Edwards has to say to his players in that dressing room is just quieten the crowd as quick as you possibly can. Well, they've got off to the perfect start after 10 minutes by taking the lead at the Stadium of Light. And now it's going to be very difficult. You see how organised they are in front of us now. Whenever Sunderland get the ball, you know they want to get it down. They want to get it into those wide areas and start playing attacking football. But Luton just drop back into their positions. They're making it really hard for Sunderland to break them down.
And Sunderland with only 1 win in their previous 8 home games. Of course, they've had a number of draws here towards the end of the season, but they're a goal down here already with 12.5 minutes played. Of course, no away goals counting double in the playoffs for some time, which is why we've seen a number of cagey first legs in recent years. Of course, we haven't seen cagey first legs in the playoffs so far this season, with Peterborough putting 4 past Sheffield Wednesday last night, and it was a very enterprising game between Bolton and Barnsley earlier on, finishing 1-1 on TalkSport 2 on the day that Southampton were also relegated from the Premier League, so they'll be facing either or both of these sides in the Championship next season, as the goal scorer, Adebayo, gathers the ball just inside the Luton half, and he was quickly taken out there by a challenge from Lyndon Gooch, and it will be a free kick. And Luton Town are doing what they always tend to do.
Yeah, they've just got to play the game at their own pace now, Nigel. It's up to the home side to try and break Luton down, to get themselves back on level terms. But Rob Edwards will be absolutely thrilled to pieces with the start that his side have had in this game. They look as if they're really at it. We talked about those 8 changes from the weekend's game. They're fresh, and you can see it in the energy levels that they're putting into this game in the early stages. But from a Sunderland perspective, it's not time to panic. Just keep playing the football that you played throughout the whole of the season. That's got you here in the first place.
The free kick is played wide to the far side, and Drama driven low into the penalty area. It takes a deflection and it goes behind this time for a goal kick to Sunderland. But now Luton Town have taken a firm grip on this game with 14 minutes played on TalkSport 2, leading by a 0-0. Sunderland had that early flurry, the save from Horvath to deny Jack Clark, but now Luton Town have the goal, and they are a team who have forgotten how to lose away from home.
Oh, absolutely. And that just comes with form, confidence, organisation, and players knowing exactly what their jobs are. that is going to be a real threat, Nigel, throughout the whole of this game. Those set pieces, Sunderland cannot afford to give away set pieces because of the height that Luton have in their starting 11.
And Luton did keep 20 clean sheets during the regular season. 1-0 was often enough for them, as Clark plays it forward now. Into the path of Aqua, quickly on to Pritchard. Midway inside the Luton half, and Pritchard advances towards the edge of the penalty area, goes down. Believe he was fouled by Paddy Ruddock-Panzu, but no free kick given, and it bobbles through to Ethan Horvath.
Yeah, and Panzu's just run away there as if he thought he'd never made the foul, but Alex Pritchard started to bang the ground as if he was frustrated, probably felt a little bit of contact, but from where I'm stood, Nigel, it didn't look as if it was enough to give a foul away.
Sunderland trained with only 13 players on Thursday. Such has been the injury problems they've had to deal with. 8 first-teamers unavailable for this game as Drama comes forward now for Luton on the far side, but Pierre-Emmanuel Ekwa comes back to guide the ball out of play, and it will be a throw-in for Luton, leading here by a 1-0 on TalkSport 2 in the first of the Championship playoff semi-finals. Now Morris on this near side. He's been cleaned out by a challenge from Dan Neil, and the yellow card is quickly out for the South Shields born player. Went straight through the back of Carlton Morris, and 1 or 2 Sunderland players have just lost their composure here.
Well, I think it's just a silly foul, isn't it? We had one about a couple of minutes ago from Luke O'Nien in the centre circle, and this one, Dan Neil on Carlton Morris. No real need to make that challenge. He's not really going anywhere. He looked as if he was trying to play the ball back to his centre halves. And now for the rest of the game, Nigel, you've got to be very careful when you've got challenges.
And Dan Neil, only 21 years of age. Sunderland have the youngest average starting 11 in the Championship this season. As a high ball is played forward by Doughty towards the far post. Challenging forward was Lockyer. He wins it back and finds Drama. And now Nakamba on loan from Aston Villa. Midway inside the Sunderland half. Laid into the path of Mpanzu. And then back to the halfway line. And Osho again. And Mpanzu looks to play it further wide towards Adebayo, but then the challenge comes in. I think the whistle has gone because a Sunderland player is down on his haunches midway inside their half and may require some treatment.
Yeah, it's Dan Neil. I think it was Nakamba who just tried the reverse pass, and it just hit him plumb in the face. So the referee just blew his whistle straight away just to calm the game down a little bit. He's back on his feet, looks as if he's okay. Maybe it's that little bit of a respite, that Sunderland need, because you can just sense it now, Nigel. And this is working in Luton's favour. The stadium's a little bit quiet, which would have been a big thing for Rob Edwards to say to his players before kick-off. Well, they've managed to do that by getting themselves in front. Now, this crowd have got to get themselves involved in the game as quick as they possibly can.
Gooch with a long ball forward over the halfway line, looking for Gelhardt, headed away by Lockyer, but Pritchard wins it back, and Gelhardt now lays it back wide towards Pritchard down the left. A back heel brings Clark into the game. He comes in field to find Aqua quickly on to Neil, but Sunderland have given Luton the opportunity to regain their defensive shape on this near side. Roberts cuts it back towards the edge of the penalty area. Diallo will chase, but Lockyer gets there first. He's had an excellent season, the Welsh international. A high ball played forward from him, looking for Morris on the halfway line. He eventually nods the ball down, and Clark drives forward now for Luton. Plays it wide towards Adebayo. Adebayo's got support further wide down the right, but he goes for goal. He had better options than that. Drama completely unmarked right-hand side of the penalty area, but he drags the shot harmlessly wide.
Well, they're losing the physical battle, Sunderland. Morris very
That was
strong.
always going to happen, though.
Yes, absolutely, yeah. But I think, as an individual, Nigel, you've got to go out there and say, well, I know he's bigger, I know he's stronger than me, but I'm going to prove how strong and physical I can be. And you do that by making or winning your first challenge. They've not been able to do that. Sunderland are trying to get the ball down. They're trying to play nice football, but for me, in the wrong areas. And that's where Luton are capitalising on it, which is why I say that physical presence that they've got at the moment, just on top.
Osho driving forward now from the back three, finds Clark midway inside the Sunderland half, but it's volleyed away by Roberts, and it will be a throw-in to Luton. You're listening to Sunderland against Luton in the EFL Championship playoff semi-finals, live on TalkSport 2 with Carling, the UK's #1 lager, 18+. Please drink responsibly. Alfie Doughty with the throw in for Luton. Down the line on this near side, looking for Morris. It's over his head, and O'Nien will allow it to drift out of play. And Sunderland will have a goal kick with nearly 20 minutes played here on TalkSport 2. Sunderland 0, Luton Town 1. Don't forget Salford against Stockport from the League 2 playoffs coming up at 7:45, the last of our playoff triple header on TalkSport 2 today. Then tomorrow on TalkSport at noon, Coventry against Middlesbrough, and the Sunday session with Sam Matterface live from Wembley, the Women's FA Cup semi-final between Chelsea and Manchester United. There'll also be news of a busy day in the Premier League, including Everton against Manchester City and Brentford against West Ham. 7 o'clock on TalkSport 2, it is Bradford against Carlisle with Mark Wilson and Neil Redfern. Then on Monday, a big game at both ends of the Premier League on TalkSport from 6 o'clock, Leicester against Liverpool. Now Adebayo for Luton inside the penalty area, but he's closed down by O'Nien, and Sunderland will try and play the ball out, and it's their style to try and be very prosaic and work the ball along the ground, but at the moment Luton are just harrying them and hustling them out of their stride, although Ekwa was caught there by a late challenge, and the home crowd were looking for a yellow card, but they do have a free kick.
Yeah, this time Osho making a silly foul for Luton Town, but the tactics of Luton are certainly working, and Sunderland have got to try and come up with the answers if they're going to get themselves back into this game. Playing too many long balls up to Joe Geldhart, who's, he's not the tallest centre forward in the world. He's not going to bring that ball down. He's not going to hold up play, so the other forward players can come and help and support him a little bit. Got to try and play through those midfield areas. Take a few more risks. I know it's early on in the game, but that's how you're going to break down this solid back line of Luton Town, because at the minute they look so organised and so comfortable.
At half-time and extra time in the National League playoff final, Chesterfield lead Notts County by 2-1. Armando Dobra has put the Spyrights back ahead after John Bostock equalised for Notts County very late in that game. So at the moment, the team who got 107 points won't be getting promoted, as Neil has quickly been closed down now. There's an opportunity for Morris to break forward, but the shot from the edge of the penalty area, right-footed, lacked power, and it's a comfortable save for Patterson.
Yeah, very good play there from Carlton Morrison. Morris just working his socks off to win the ball back. Sunderland, if they're going to try and play through the lines, they have to do it quicker. They're giving Luton the opportunity to get back and organise themselves, and it's just a little bit sloppy from the home side. That's probably down to the way that Luton Town have set themselves up. Certainly look as if they're up for this game, no doubt.
A reminder, in the Premier League early today on TalkSport at 12:30, Leeds 2, Newcastle 2. This afternoon, it was Villa 2, Spurs 1, Chelsea 2, Forest 2, Palace 2, Bournemouth 0, Manchester United 2, Wolves 0, and Southampton 0, Fulham 2. Saints are relegated. They will be in the Championship, live on TalkSport 2 next season. As Sunderland try and move it forward now with Trey Hume, the Northern Ireland international. Another player playing out of position, and at the moment that lack of cohesion for Sunderland is possibly showing in one or two areas against a very well drilled, very well coached team.
Yeah, completely right, Nigel. And you sometimes question, is the occasion a little bit too big for some of these younger Sunderland players? I'd like to think not. You'd think you kind of raise your game a little bit for it, but you certainly need to go through the gears a little bit quicker than they are doing.
And now Clark has strode away from the challenge of Gooch. Clark can break into the penalty, pulls it back to Adebayo, and that's an excellent challenge inside the area from Hume, probably a goal-saving challenge, and at the moment Sunderland looking at odds every time Luton cross the halfway line.
Absolutely fantastic from Luton Town again. Morris again on that right-hand side. Lyndon Gooch is going to ground. If you go to ground, you've got to know yourself 100% you can win that ball, because he's the last man basically. He makes a real rash challenge, completely misses the ball, and it just gives Luton the opportunity again to break and just play a simple ball into that 6-yard area. Brilliant defending from Trey Hume to keep the score at 1-0.
Corner kick for Luton on the far side. 23 minutes played on TalkSport 2. Luton leading by a goal to 0. Clark's delivery high towards the far post. Patterson rising above Morris to claim cleanly. He then tries to play the ball forward, but he was just blocked off by Adebayo, and in the end he has to bowl the ball out wide to the far side. Gooch brings it forward at walking pace in the strip of the pitch still illuminated by the sunshine here at the Stadium of Light. Now O'Nien, midfielder playing at the heart of a back three with a winger on one side of him and a fullback on the other. Pritchard jabs it down the line, looking for Clark, who's done well to keep the ball in play. Has support from Neil in field, and now it's back towards Gooch on the far side. But Sunderland at the moment just look slightly off the pace, and they're finding it difficult to deal with Luton's physicality, but at the same time Luton are playing a much smarter game here.
Yeah, Sunderland, it's a lot of questions without coming up with the answers at the moment, and I just wonder whether Tony Mowbray's having a look at maybe even the system and how he can maybe tinker with it and change it up a little bit so they can actually get themselves into the final third. Look, they've done it on a couple of occasions with Jack Clark down that left-hand side, but you can see the way Luton themselves, they're just waiting for a mistake from Sunderland to play that silly little 5-yard ball that goes astray. Luton pick it up and they're on the attack themselves, and it's worked great for them so far.
The one thing we know is Tony Mowbray will not change the way he wants his team to play. He won't suddenly start launching it as a free kick's being given on the far side. Jack Clark, the player who has been dragged down by Osho, is taken quickly by Sunderland, and in the end, as they do that, they just give Luton the opportunity to regroup. Now Ekwa has to go back to the halfway line, and O'Nien square to this near side, and Amad Diallo, the young Ivorian on loan from Manchester United, who has been such an exciting player for Sunderland. But you just wonder where Sunderland would be this season if they had a recognised striker, because of course Ross Stewart scored 10 goals in 13 games, but they've barely seen him since December.
It's been a huge miss, and obviously any side is going to miss a player who gets goals like that for you, Nigel, but let's not forget Ellis Sims, who came on loan from Everton also.
Here is Pritchard now, breaking into the penalty area left-hand side. He claims he was caught by Osho as he delivered the cross into the penalty area, but it was gathered comfortably by Horvath.
Well, that's the kind of moves that they're going to have to make, those Sunderland, in this game. You know, the quick little round the ball, round the corner pass. If they can do that, they will get Diallo involved. They will get Pritchard involved. But when they get into that final third, bit of quality is going to be needed also. 27
minutes played. Sunderland 0, Luton 1 on TalkSport 2 as Ekwa does well to ride a challenge and carry the ball up to the halfway line for Sunderland. Patrick Roberts takes over, wide towards Ekwa again, infield to Pritchard. And it's neat and tidy from Sunderland, and now a clever ball from Ekwa, almost releases Roberts on this near side, and in the end he carries the ball out of play, and it will be a throw-in to Luton Town. And when Sunderland have the ball in those tight areas, there are 2 or 3 Luton players descending on them instantly.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can see they're setting traps for them. They're letting them have a couple of little touches on the ball, but when they get them surrounded in a corner, they're just not letting Sunderland players get out. And that's why I talk about the passing. It's got to be quicker, it's got to be more precise. You've got to have runners off the ball, never mind the player who's on it. As soon as he gets his head up, he's having a look up, and there's really nobody in front of Roberts, and even Jack Clark on that left-hand side. That has got to change. But it's all down to the energy levels and the way that Luton have set themselves up. You can see they've come here with a game plan, and it's certainly working.
And you just look down their team, and they do have youngsters, but there is an experienced core which Sunderland are just lacking, and that's nobody's fault. Just down to injuries and bad luck. But now Doughty has given the ball away, but Diallo tries to find Pritchard and only succeeds in giving it to Clark. But now Sunderland doing it back, and Geldhart was almost cut in two on the halfway line. And in the end, a free kick has been given. Nakamba is quick to try and depart the scene, but I don't think he'll depart in time to escape a yellow card.
No, well, I think if you're going to give Dan Neil a foul for just in front of the technical areas and a yellow card, I think you have to do exactly the same thing for Nakamba. You could see that with Sunderland were on the break. I have to say it's a very clever foul if you think of Nakamba, and Sunderland looked as if they were on the break. So he's basically taken one for the team there, Nigel.
Yellow card for Marvellous Nakamba. And again, Sunderland do nothing with the free kick. It's given away to Adebayo, who hops over the challenge of Pritchard. He's then fouled by Neil, was he? No, not according to the referee. Clark comes forward now for Sunderland. He in turn, though, loses out on the halfway line to Gabriel Osho. And it's all very scrappy, all very tetchy at times as well, with nearly half an hour played here at the Stadium of Light on the home of the EFL, TalkSport 2. And it's Sunderland 0, Luton Town 1 in the Championship playoff semi-final first leg. Coventry taking on Middlesbrough in the other semi-final, live on TalkSport 2 at noon tomorrow. Now Jordan Clark has gone down on the edge of the penalty area, clutching his head. It was an aerial duel involving Luke O'Nien, and I think 9 will get a yellow card as well. There was a raised arm there, I think, into the face of Clark, and it's a free kick for Luton right on the edge of the penalty area.
Well, I'm just having a look at Jordan Clark down there. I mean, where the contact came from, Nigel, whether it was on, if it was his elbow, arm, yeah, then it has to be a yellow card. I thought initially he'd done very well. Kind of tried to flick the ball away from his own goal with the back of his head because he was running back to his own goal. What a super run from Jordan Clark to get him actually just on the edge of the 18-yard area. And look, very close to being in the penalty box, I have to say.
Notts County have equalised for a second time. Ruben Rodriguez at Wembley in the National League playoff final, 2-2 against Chesterfield. Chesterfield were 3 minutes away from promotion. Of course, Notts County came back in added time to equalise and then win their semi-final right at the end of their game against Boreham Wood. They have lived on the edge all season, Notts County, and they're doing so again at Wembley here today. Free kick here for Luton, right on the edge of the penalty area. And as we've seen already, set pieces are a real test. And Jordan Clark is over the free kick, and he's got the opportunity to whip this ball in. In the end, it's left for Doughty to wrap his left foot round it. He fires it in towards the near post, and Patterson makes a good claim.
Well, I mean, he's got a lot of pace on that, Alfie Doughty. He just whips it below that Sunderland wall. You see Anthony Patterson, he's in the perfect position just to sweep that one up, but again, just have to stop giving those silly little fouls away outside of your own 18-yard box. If you do that, then Luton are only going to add to this lead that they already have.
And now Jack Clark has been felled on the halfway line by Adebayo, and it will be a free kick for Sunderland. But every time they get a free kick, they're looking to play it quick, looking to play it short, when maybe now and again they just need to take a moment, reset, and maybe put the ball a bit longer. But if they do that, they don't really have a physical target to fight for it.
And that's the problem they've got, Nigel, isn't it? I mean, they're probably getting their head up to have a look, and then you've got Joe Geldhart, who's the only centre forward up there. Well, you can't play a ball in between the two centre halves and let him challenge him, because he's just not going to win any challenges whatsoever. So they're overplaying at the moment, and they're making so many mistakes.
Geldhart, though, wins it back and plays it wide to Clark on the far side. The challenge comes in from Drammer, and it will be a Sunderland throw-in on the far side. And I always thought that Drammer against Clark was going to be one of the key confrontations here today. Two very pacey young players, both with Leeds United connections. And Cody Drammer, one of a number of players in the Championship this season who may be wondering that if things fall a certain way, would he want to return to a club who's been relegated from the Premier League if their side goes up? Nathan Teller at Burnley on loan from Southampton, another one.
Certainly big decisions for those players in the summer, isn't it? Or do you want to stay at your parent club and fight again in the Championship, or do you want to actually move on and play somewhere where you actually feel comfortable when you're certainly playing every single week? And you're right about that battle over on the right-hand side, Nigel. Drammer and Jack Clark. It's very good, and you can see the energy levels. Clark just wants to get forward. Drammer's a very good defender, but when given the opportunity, he bursts over that halfway line. He's got the quality to do so.
Well, Luton sold James Bree to Southampton in January, and Drammer was the player who arrived on loan from Leeds, and in many ways he's almost been an upgrade on what they had before. But Luton have been a real clinic for fullbacks in recent years. You look at players like Max Aarons at Norwich, who originally came through at Luton, James Justin. They just seem to have had a purple patch of developing players in that position.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And if it works, it's great. I love to see players coming down to the Championship and plying their trade and giving themselves an opportunity of first-team football, and it mans you up a little bit, the Championship. Certainly playing every single week, Tuesdays, Saturdays.
Now Doughty on this near side for Luton, moving forward, but he runs into Ekwah, who comes in with a solid challenge, and Sunderland have the opportunity to play the ball away again. 34 minutes played. Luton leading here by a 1-0 as Ekwah looks to lead the challenge for Sunderland on the halfway line, infield towards Pritchard, back towards Ekwah again, but he's quickly lost out, and there's an opportunity for Adebayo to play it wide to Drammer on the far side, but the Ball is quickly won back by Sunderland, but they are really playing the game at Luton's pace at the moment, and that's the problem for them, although Diallo has been quickly fouled there and plays the quick free kick, and it's almost given away by Ekwa very close to his own goal. But Sunderland looking to try and maintain a tempo, but at the moment they almost can't live with it themselves. As Drama comes forward now for Luton, infield from the right-hand side, back towards Mpanzu, and Nakamba, poor ball from him, wide to the far side and straight to Clark, but Clark can't pick out Diallo on the halfway line, and it's guided back towards Lockyer.
There's just too many mistakes from Sunderland perspective. The players are giving the ball away too much. There's no outlet for them. And I go back to that point, Nigel, I know Tony Mowbray wants to get the ball down and play his football. Right, that is not going to change, but I just wonder whether a system change might just help them out a little bit, give them an extra body in midfield, because I think at the back, I talk about that lack of height and physicality. Well, they certainly need some in that midfield area.
Well, they're playing 3 forward players, but they're barely having the ball at the moment, so maybe they've got to go to 4-4-2 or something like that just to try and get through 20 minutes or so in this game. Now Morris, wide towards Adebayo on the far side. But Luton this time have given the ball away. Pritchard high over the top, looking for Diallo. He will chase with Osho wide into the sunshine on the far side, but Osho gets there first and guides it back towards Horvath. Another player on loan from the Premier League, but the American plays a dreadful ball wide to this near side, and Mpanzu tries to keep the ball in play, but Sunderland do have an attacking throw-in level with the edge of the Luton penalty area.
Yeah, big opportunity here. Try and overload in this 18-yard area if you possibly can. Get the ball in play, and then you can show the quality what you have in the final third.
Geldhart, though, by the corner flag on this near side. All he can do, though, is just jab it against the ankle of Bell, and it will be a throw into Sunderland. Roberts has the ball in hand.
They're just suffocating them, aren't they, Luton? You can see whenever they're getting these little tight corners, Luton, there's 3 or 4 players there, and Sunderland have just got nowhere to go. You can see Roberts over on this right-hand side. He's got 3 players that he has to kind of work his magic around just to create half a yard for himself.
Well, Luton, 14 games unbeaten since a 1-0 loss against Burnley back on the 18th of February. It is only 2 losses in 25 league games overall. And they only conceded 18 goals away from home this season, the lowest figure in the entire EFL. That is what Sunderland are up against here today.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you have to talk about the quality that they have also, Luton. I mean, albeit you can put 11 players out there and say, right, this is how I want you to play. But at times in games, you've got to show that extra bit of brilliance that you have, and they've certainly got that in abundance when you look at the 2 forward players.
Now, Roberts always been fouled on the edge of the penalty area by Mpanzu. And Roberts there was just a bit too clever for the midfielder. He was bearing down on goal, and Sunderland here with a set piece in a really good position.
Yeah, great play there from Patrick Roberts. He loves to work that ball onto his left foot. You can just see Mpanzu there. He's got a decision to make. Does he stay on his feet and let Roberts just breeze onto his left foot? Well, he knows the quality that he's got. He's just picked up a yellow card for his sins because he just went to ground. It was a silly foul. It's a great opportunity for the home side to get themselves back on level terms, but you need the quality from these set pieces.
4 yellow cards in the first half, 2 apiece now. Nakamba and Mpanzu for Luton, O'Nien and Neal for Sunderland. And it's developing into the sort of game where it wouldn't be a huge surprise if neither side finishes with 11 players here.
That's something that we don't want to see, Nigel, isn't it? I think it's great to see 11 v 11 throughout the whole of the game, and you just got lots of battles out there, and at the moment the away side are winning more of the battles, which is why they're on top.
Diallo and Pritchard are over the free kick. It's rolled short to Diallo. Hits it! Oh, what a goal! Amad Diallo with a left-footed curler to take the roof off the Stadium of Light, and the Manchester United youngster comes up with a moment to haul Sunderland back into this playoff campaign. They have been outfought and outthought so far, but Diallo comes up with a moment of genius, and Sunderland believe once again. 1-1.
Wow. I mean, he scored an absolute cracker against Preston last weekend, but this one actually tops that. It was a little short free kick, very cleverly worked, and I'm just thinking the angle's superb for a left footer, just to curl it into that top corner. Look, Sunderland haven't been at their best in this first half, but what a finish from an absolute superstar. Came here on loan, just one young player of the season, Amad Diallo, and he has got them back on level terms with an absolute wonder goal. What a strike.
Well, he scored a controversial penalty here in the draw against Luton back in March, but no doubt about that one. Both of the league games this season finished 1-1, and it's 1-1 here now, 6 minutes before half-time. Sunderland came from behind in both of those games as well. A smoke bomb has been let off by the Sunderland fans high up away to our right-hand side, and the atmosphere inside the stadium has been transformed.
These supporters have been waiting for that. Something to cheer on their side, and it's come with an absolute super strike, hasn't it? And you've got to try and just keep this momentum going to half-time, come out in the second half and show everybody why you actually play for a club like Sunderland Football Club, because these players want to perform, they want to entertain this crowd that's in this stadium today. And that must have been a huge shock to these Luton Town players, because they've been on top, there's no question of that in this game so far, and that has just come out of absolutely nowhere.
And really, the only way that Sunderland were going to come back into this game was down to a mistake or a moment of genius like that.
And we got the genius part, didn't we, Nigel? I mean, you had to say it. It's just a brilliant goal. Lovely little bit of work play from Sunderland initially to win the foul, but then Pritchard just with that little touch, and then you're wondering who's going to take the shot on him. Well, it was that young man Diallo, and he just couldn't have put it in a better spot, right into the top corner to give Horvath in that Luton Town goal absolutely no chance.
Well, the last 4 meetings have finished 1-1, and we are with a similar scoreline now, just before half-time on TalkSport 2. And Luton have given the ball away again. Here is Roberts. Was he fouled just inside the centre circle? He was. Pulled back by Doughty. And it's Luton's turn to maybe just feel a bit of pressure in the playoffs.
Yeah, well, you can see that. They're very clever, I have to say, the midfield players, Nakamba and Panzu and Clark. Whenever they can see Sunderland are trying to break forward, just a little niggly foul that they get away with, albeit we've had a couple of yellow cards in the game for some nasty challenges, but you can see it just gives them the opportunity to get everybody behind the ball. They know at the minute, in the next couple of minutes, they're going to be behind because of the momentum that Sunderland have. Just nullify that as quick as you can.
Ekwah now receives it from Pritchard on the edge of the penalty area. Clark wants it wide to the left. Ekwah continues. He goes down. The challenge comes in the end, a goal kick has been given.
Well, you can hear the cheers, can't you? I think Sunderland wanted a penalty. I thought Ekwah he overplayed. He had Jack Clark to the left-hand side of him. You can see him, Panzu, he wins the ball.
There's not enough there, is there?
I mean, when I saw it, Nigel, I thought it was a bit harsh if he'd have given a penalty, and now seeing it again, look, Panzu does really well. Great defending from him, but Ekwah's just got to release that ball a little bit quicker to the left-hand side.
1-1 with 2.5 minutes to play in the first half here on TalkSport 2. The second leg of this game live on TalkSport on Tuesday. On TalkSport 2, it will be Inter against Milan, the second leg of that Champions League semi-final. Then on Wednesday night, we are live from the Etihad for Manchester City against Real Madrid. 1-1 from the first leg with Adrian Durham, Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce. Middlesbrough against Coventry, that second leg will be on TalkSport 2. Then on Thursday night, TalkSport Newcastle against Brighton. AZ against West Ham will be on TalkSport 2. Of course, West Ham 2-1 up, looking to reach the Europa Conference League final. And the second leg between Sheffield Wednesday and Peterborough will be available on the TalkSport app. Do you give your former club a prayer? 4-0 down.
Yeah, well, not now, mate. I mean, I saw them their final day against Derby County, and I really fancied them in the playoffs, but Peterborough, outstanding performance.
Here is Diallo now coming forward again, another left-footed curler, and this time it's deflected high and wide for a corner.
He's getting so much space now, Diallo. He's growing into the game as we climb up to halfway and half-time. Working that ball onto his left foot. Super play again.
Now Clark looking to attack the penalty area. Drives it into the near post. Doughty, though, manages to just jab the ball behind, and it will be a corner kick once again. And Sunderland are playing all these corners short. And when you look at the disparity in height between the two teams inside that penalty area, that's no surprise.
Absolutely, you can understand why. It's very difficult to try and pick somebody out. I mean, we're having a look in the 18-yard box now, and when have you seen this? There's only Joe Geldhart really in the box.
Played short to Neil now, wide on the left-hand side. Now back out towards Clark on the edge of the penalty area. And there's an opportunity for Pritchard to receive it now and try and attack the penalty area. Lofts a high ball to the far post, nodded away though by Mpanzu. Picked up by Roberts, who looks to chop back onto his right foot on the outside. Drives it in, but it's blocked at the moment by Mpanzu, and it will be a throw-in for Sunderland, and they are on top as we head towards half-time here. Diallo claims he was obstructed by Nakamba, but he looked to manufacture the contact and nothing was given. And now a free kick has been given, or at least play has been stopped, because Diallo has stayed down from that initial challenge, and we are into 2 minutes of added time.
Well, I think the referee's got a couple of decisions wrong there. Diallo, lovely little play, flicking it over the defender, but then he let the play go on, the referee, and as it went up towards the halfway line, I think it's Luke O'Nien on Adebayo.
That was a late challenge.
Yeah,
as well,
he brings him
wasn't it?
down, so I think it's actually the Luton side who've won this free kick, because he let the play go on. You can see the players after that challenge by O'Nien and Adebayo, they came together. Their faces came together. Look, there was no shoving or anything like that, but the referee's got to stay on top of it. Look, he's lost the plot over the last minute, hasn't he?
O'Nien might be relieved there because he's on a yellow card.
Yeah, that was a bad challenge as well.
Well, it's been a first half which has certainly held the attention.
Without a doubt. Luton were excellent for 35. Oh, my goodness.
Patterson treads on the ball inside his own penalty area. Maybe he wasn't holding his attention enough.
Absolutely not. You don't need to see that. But yeah, Luton were fantastic for 35 minutes. Their game plan was working to a T, got themselves in front, and then a momentum change in the final 5 or 6 minutes of this first half, where Sunderland just scored an absolute wonder goal to get themselves back on level terms. You've got to try and hang on to that if you possibly can.
Hume looking to try and play the ball out, but he's given the ball away for Sunderland. But now it's quickly won back and played wide to Ekwa, charging over the halfway line. Right-hand side, he's got support from Diallo. Roberts also making the burst into the penalty area, and then the ball is allowed to run by Geldhart, and it's gathered now by Neil, and it's Ekwa with a left-footed curler, but not the menace of the previous one from Diallo, and it's saved by Horvath.
Well, there was a couple of opportunities there for Ekwa to play the ball out to the right-hand side to Diallo. Nearly came off with Dan Neil just waiting on the edge of the 18-yard box with a super strike, but didn't take it on.
Well, half-time, and the Sunderland crowd rise to acclaim their team. They fell behind early on to that scrappy goal hammered in by Elijah Adebayo after Sunderland failed to clear a corner, but a quite stunning equaliser from Amad Diallo has given Sunderland some hope here. Luton were on top for long spells, will maybe be disappointed they didn't extend their lead, and Sunderland made them pay just before half-time. Half-time in the semi-final first leg, it is Sunderland 1, Luton Town 1.
Thank you very much, Nigel. A first half there of excitement to match the atmosphere here at the Stadium of Light. Mickey Gray still alongside us. Rob Edwards feels like he got his tactics spot on from the start there for Luton.
Oh, he certainly did, John. I thought they were excellent for 35 minutes, deservedly went in front, but you can see the set pieces are going to be a real ploy for them in this game, no question of that, and that's where the goal came from. They just kept the ball alive, and eventually Adebayo just sticks the ball in the back of the net. It was an easy finish from him, but they deserved it at the time. I think they lost their heads a little bit towards the end of the first half, the last 6 or 7 minutes, which gives Sunderland the opportunity to get themselves back into the game. But what a goal. He's a little superstar. The biggest accolade I can give him, look, he cost £37 million to Manchester United. But I see him play, different league, I know that. This is the Championship. When I see Anthony playing for Manchester United, he's a better player. He's a better all-round player than Anthony. He brings more to the game.
He does the things that Anthony tries.
Yes.
From what I can see here. I mean, it really did need that moment of magic, because it felt like Luton were kind of dominating the midfield with their physicality, as you mentioned in the commentary there. And it feels like Sunderland now take that momentum. They ended the better side into the second half.
Well, you probably didn't want half-time to come. If you're a Sunderland player, that's the way the game completely turned on its head in that first 45 minutes. But I think Tony has to go in at half-time, albeit they've got themselves back on level terms. I think just a tactical change, because they're overplaying at times and they're making sloppy mistakes. It's very difficult for Joe Geldhart to actually get involved in the game. I think he's touched the ball about 4 or 5 times in that first 45 minutes. Nothing to do with him. I think it's just because he's up there on his own. He's trying to play that lone striker role, and it's very hard. He's more of a defending striker than being an out-and-out striker because he's working so hard off the ball. But that's up to the manager. That's why you earn your corner.
Absolutely. Well, at half-time here at the Stadium of Light, Sunderland 1, Luton Town 1. Earlier on, there was the game in the League One playoffs. It was a draw between Bolton and Barnsley. We'll get the latest from that in a second. And at Wembley, it's all going off. Notts County scoring a late goal to take it to extra time, and then having an extra late goal to take it to penalties. That's all going off at Wembley right now. We'll get the latest on that when we get back here on TalkSport 2.
EFL Live on TalkSport 2 with Carling, the UK's #1 lager. 18 plus, please drink responsibly.
Ever wondered what it's like to win big on the National Lottery?
Are you somewhere you're able to talk at the moment?
Yes, we're at home.
Lovely. I've just checked the ticket and I can confirm you are now millionaires.
No!
Yes! Imagine if it was you making that call next. The National Lottery. Your numbers make amazing happen. Rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over.
At Myra, we believe your bathroom should be your sanctuary. So we bring together thoughtful design with forward-thinking product innovation and service that's always there to make your space as special as it should be. Myra Showers. Make your bathroom your room.
Elevate your summer nights with all the indulgence of the new Magnum Double Star Chaser. With cracking chocolate, popcorn flavour, and rich caramel sauce for the night. Pleasure is always on. Magnum. True to pleasure.
Hear the biggest sports stories first and fast with the Backpage Review on TalkSport with Tesco Mobile for Business. Listen to TalkSport Breakfast every weekday morning from 6 for the latest breaking Backpage news, plus unbeatable reaction, opinion and comment. The Backpage Review on TalkSport with Tesco Mobile for Business. Join Tesco Mobile and get business phone bills for up to 40% less than the big mobile networks. Tesco Mobile, every little helps. For applicable terms and verification, see tescomobile.com/business.
Live Gallagher Premiership Rugby semi-final on TalkSport 2. Tomorrow afternoon from 3.
He shimmies, he turns, it's glorious champagne rugby.
Hear tough tackling rugby union commentary as Sale Sharks take on Leicester Tigers.
Chance for a break down the left wing by Leicester. They're going to go up to the edge of the 22. Kick through. Where's the ball going to bounce? It will bounce into the arms of Harry Potter, and he slides over the line and scores the try.
The Gallagher Premiership semi-final. Sale Sharks take on Leicester Tigers tomorrow afternoon from 3 on TalkSport 2.
From the centre of the football universe.
What a hit!
The EFL Playoffs live on TalkSport
2. There will be drama, there will be tears, and there will be glory. The Championship playoffs are underway on the TalkSport network. Headed towards goal by Osho. Adebayo's almost in there, and the ball is eventually driven in. And Elijah Adebayo has given Luton Town the lead.
From a Sunderland perspective, it's not time to panic.
Luton did keep 20 clean sheets during the regular season. 1-0 was often enough for them. Diallo and Pritchard are over the free kick. It's rolled short to Diallo. Hits it! Oh, what a goal! Ahmed Diallo with a left-footed curler, and the Manchester United youngster comes up with a moment to haul Sunderland back into this playoff campaign.
Wow, what a strike.
Yeah, an incredible atmosphere during that first half here at the Stadium of Light. We're looking forward to the second half coming up very, very shortly here on TalkSport 2. The big breaking news from the last few moments or so, Notts County back into the Football League. They came from behind twice, once in extra time. We heard just before the break there that John Bostock had Panenka a penalty onto the bar. Didn't look good for them, but redemption for Kedwin Scott after he missed a penalty against Wrexham in that game a couple of weeks ago or so. He has scored the winning penalty, so Notts County win the penalty shootout 4-3 over Chesterfield at Wembley. Notts County are back into the Football League. Congratulations to those guys. And Salford City versus Stockport County is coming up later on in League 2, the league that Notts County will be playing in later on. It's the first semi-final in the League 2 playoffs. It's live here on TalkSport 2 from 7:45. Mark Wilson and Neil Redfern will be your commentary team. They can join me now to look ahead to that game. And what kind of game are we expecting at the Peninsula tonight, Neil?
I think it's going to be I think these first leg games are always difficult because you don't want to lose it in this game, but you need to try and get an advantage. If you're the home side. I think for the away side, any sort of a result that's positive takes you into the home tie, and you think you've got a chance then. But both sides are on decent-ish form and playing well, and both like to play good football. Just looking at the pitch, it's unbelievable. You're talking about a second division team's pitch here, and it's unbelievable. It's like a Premier League standard surface, so we're expecting good football along the way.
Yeah, well, you say that Salford City have that home advantage also. 4 wins out of the last 5 for them. How important do you think momentum is going into the playoffs?
Well, it is. It's key, because your players are playing with confidence. You've got a good way of playing. The players believe in it. The hallmark of any philosophy is results. If you're getting the results, then the philosophy seems a good idea to the players. They'll be upbeat, but Stockport will be, similar as well. It's going to be fascinating. This, obviously, it's bragging rights as well. It's a northwest derby, if you like. So there's lots riding on this tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave Challoner, a word on him, because he's done very well at Stockport County after what was let's call a slow start to the season.
Yeah, he's done fantastically well, to be honest with you. If you look at his track record, he's got an unbelievable win ratio wherever he goes. In his spell at Stockport alone, 93 games, 54 wins, 58% win ratio. That's phenomenal. So I mean, this is a guy that knows his stuff, knows the level, knows how to put teams together. And obviously I watched the last game against Hartlepool. It finished with a 1-1 draw, but there was clear identity there. It's got Dave Challoner's way of playing written all over it. So this is going to be a tough game tonight for Salford.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Neil Redfern. There will be alongside Mark Wilson for commentary a little bit later on. Is Mark with you, Neil, right now?
Sat with me, mate.
Looking around the ground right now, Mark, I mean, we've got these 2 teams here. Stockport County dropped out of the league a while ago and have done really well to get back to where they are now. Where Salford City, they were kind of the original Wrexham in a way. They were, the story with the class of '92 and everything like that. What kind of crowd have we got there?
Well, it's a very small ground here, holds about 7,000. It'll be full tonight, really tight. Wherever you sit, you're probably only 15 yards away from the field. It is a really tight environment here. It's always quite hostile coming, so it'll be a good atmosphere. And both sides, I think, will be expecting to get a win tonight. So it is finally set, as Neil said, and it sets up the second leg beautifully. I don't think there'll be a lot either way in it tonight.
Yeah, everything to play for. Right, live commentary of that game, Salford City versus Stockport County. League 2 playoffs coming up here on TalkSport 2 from 7:45. Earlier on TalkSport 2, we brought you the second of the League 1 playoff semi-finals. Bolton drew 1-1 with Barnsley in their first leg tie. And after the game, Bolton boss Ian Evatt spoke with TalkSport 2's Adam Bridge and gave his assessment of the game.
I feel positive that I don't think we've performed to our level, but we're still level going into the game on Friday. I think it was a really tight game, really nervy. I thought there was huge pressure on the players today in front of a huge crowd to get the result at home. And I thought first half we played a bit too safe, played with the shackles on a little bit, and I think once they scored, it kind of gave us the freedom that we need to play with, and we dominated the last half an hour or so. Barnsley are a really good team. They ask you a lot of questions, obviously long throws, set plays, really well organised and drilled out of possession, and today we just didn't find the spaces quickly enough or early enough. I think the game will be slightly different on Friday.
I was going to say, do you think last night's result kind of, on all the players, they suddenly went, we can't lose this by a big margin, we've got to keep it tight?
Absolutely, I do. I think that put the fear of God into our team, because obviously Sheffield Wednesday have had an unbelievable season, but Peterborough played with that freedom last night that I'm speaking about now, and once you do play with that freedom as an attacking team, you can cause teams problems. We didn't have that freedom today, but I'm really confident we'll get it on Friday.
There isn't a lot between these two teams, is there? We've seen that throughout the season. There's very little between them. It's going to be a tight, tense night on Friday, isn't it?
I think so. I think that was a real tactical game. I thought they came with a clear game plan and executed it really well. I thought it was a good performance from them, and as I said, from our team, I think we've got more to come. Certainly in possession, I think we can do a better job of being more brave, more courageous, taking the ball under pressure in better situations, and hopefully we'll get that on Friday.
Bolton boss Ian Evatt there speaking with TalkSport 2's Adam Bridge a few minutes or so ago there. That game finishing 1-1 with Barnsley. Second leg takes place at Oakwell next Friday night. It's live here on TalkSport 2, and Barnsley manager Michael Duff will be hoping the crowd can inspire them to victory. But here at the Stadium of Light, 1-1 at half-time between Sunderland and Luton Town. We discussed just a little while ago with our commentary team, Nigel Adderley and Mickey Gray, that, you know, Rob Edwards really got the tactics right for Luton to come out here and silence this incredibly loud crowd of 40,000 plus fans here. Mickey, do you feel like his half-time team talk is going to be basically let's revert back to what we did at the start of this game, come back out, you know, stop making those mistakes that we talked about towards the last few minutes of that game, that half, and just kind of start again, basically?
There's no need to change. There's no need to change it for your Luton player, and I think Rob will be saying that to his players, because for 35 minutes they were the dominant side, they were physically stronger. You could just see that. I think what he will be saying to his players is, look, get the ball in the box more. If we get the ball around Sunderland's 18-yard area, we're going to give ourselves better chances, because whenever that ball does go up there, you can see whether it's Adebayo or it's Morris, they're winning the physical battles. So I think they've got to be a little bit more direct. Sunderland, on the other hand, have just got to try and tidy up and clean up some of the passes, because they were a little bit scrappy at times. But you talk about a momentum change, and I said Sunderland probably didn't want that half-time to come, because the momentum did turn in their favour. But coming out in the second half, it's still all to play for. But what I would say is, I think managers in the back of the mind were saying, don't be out of this tie in the first leg.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like the first 10 minutes of this second half really could define how the rest of this tie goes on. The players just coming back out here. If you're Tony Mowbray in that dressing room right now, you know, that half-time didn't come at the right time. How is he going to keep that motivation going to keep his players? You know, we talked about how Luton were closing them down. Surely that's going to make the Luton players get tired at some point in this second half. And you kind of feel with Ahmad especially, that's where Sunderland can really make a move.
Well, I mean, look, there's going to be gaps created the later this game goes on. You can see that because of the energy levels that these players are putting into the game. But Tony's just got to go in that dressing room. Well, I know the players are out now for the second half, and just tell them how good his players are, because they have got the ability, they have got the quality. Look, I personally think out of these two sides, they're the weaker link, Sunderland, because of the inexperience that they've got. And I think at times in the game you can certainly see that. But you as a manager, you've got to tell your players, look, you're better than them. Individual battles, win your individual battles, play as a team, and the goals will come. But Rob Edwards will be doing exactly the same thing and saying the same things to his players.
Yeah, half-time here. Sunderland 1, Luton Town 1. The players back out to start. That was the voice of former Sunderland left-back Mickey Gray. He's now joined for second-half commentary here on TalkSport 2 by Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, John. And it's Sunderland who will get the second half underway. 1-1 here. A reminder of the two teams again. Sunderland, Patterson in goal. Gooch, Hume and O'Nien are back three in the first half. Roberts and Clark in the wide areas, with Ekwa and Neal at the heart of midfield. Pritchard and Diallo supporting Gelhardt in attack. The Luton team, Horvath in goal, Osho, Lockyer and Bell the back three, Drummer and Doughty the wing backs, and Mpanzu, Clark and Nakamba in midfield, Adebayo and Morris in attack. Sunderland in the red and white stripes, Luton in dark blue, and at the moment we are no closer to knowing which of these sides will be heading to Wembley for the richest game in world football at the end of the month, as Sunderland, playing from right to left, look to build on this near side. And a challenge on Clark, he goes down, but no free kick has been given, and Sunderland will have a throw-in. A number of people all around us still heading back to their seats after their half-time refreshment, and there do seem to be some very well-refreshed people here today, as Diallo brings it forward down the left-hand side, runs into Lockyer, and Sunderland have a corner right at the start of the second half.
Well, it's a bright start again from the home side, getting themselves on the front foot, and they win a corner. They're very surprised if this one actually gets whipped in towards that 6-yard area. He played so many short balls, Sunderland, short corners, short free kicks, and I think can't see that changing too much in this second half, Nigel.
Pritchard will take the corner on this near side. Clark is the short option, 10 yards to his right. And of course, Luton have packed the penalty area, and Pritchard may look to swing this ball in on this occasion, and he does, high into the 6-yard area, and it's headed away by Nakamba, wide towards the far side. It's gathered by Roberts. Roberts will attack with support from Diallo, who does have the ability, as we saw, to cut in field and unleash a left-footed curler. Roberts again finding Diallo, and they look to work that angle for Diallo again, but he's quickly closed down, but he still has possession midway inside the Luton Town half. And now Roberts again infield to Diallo and all the way back towards the halfway line. And now Gooch will try and change the point of the attack with a high diagonal ball wide towards the far side. It's only cleared as far as Roberts, who brings the ball down on his chest, appeals for handball from the Luton fans, but it's cleared away on the far side by Osho, and it's all very scrappy here as Bell clears, and now Pritchard wins it back, volleys a ball into the penalty area where it's hooked away from Lockyer. But Sunderland win it back again with Pritchard. Quick feet from him on the edge of the penalty area. Low ball driven in, Geldhart! And it's wide from 6 yards out.
What a chance. Home side have certainly been on the front foot as we come out for this second half. Luton are really finding it difficult to get out. But great play again down that right-hand side. Pritchard, super little ball into Joe Geldhart. But again, that's two opportunities I can think of now, Nigel, in the game where he looks a little bit flat-footed. As a forward player, you've got to expect that ball's going to come to you, because that was a perfect opportunity, albeit with his weaker right foot, but just hit the target, keep it low. This one went high and wide.
Now Mpanzu plays it back towards Lockyer for Luton, wearing dark blue shirts and white shorts here at the Stadium of Light. Still a sunlit evening, but the temperature beginning to drop as Pritchard wins it on this near side from Clark. Clark comes back to redeem his original error and plays it back in field towards the edge of the box, where it's cleared away by Osho over the halfway line. Adebayo looking to turn away from Hume, but covering was 09. And now Ekwah has it again for Sunderland on this near side, but Sunderland looking to retain the ball a lot better in the opening moments of the second half, with 48 minutes played here on TalkSport 2, and it's still 1-1. Now Roberts comes in field again, hurdles a challenge from Nakamba and also works his way beyond Clark, but then the ball in field doesn't find Geldhart, and it's quickly won back by Luton. They look to break. Nakamba with a good ball wide towards the far side, and there's an opportunity for Bell to streak forward on the overlap, but he's got support now, and the ball in from Bell is swirled way too high. Seemed to bounce out of play, but in the end a throw-in's been given on this near side.
Yeah, just a little bit scrappy there. Amari Bell, as he broke into the opposition's half, it was a good position for him to be in. Had the chance to have a couple of touches of the ball if he wanted to. Opted to go for it first time and really didn't look in control of that cross as he put the ball into the area. But that is the threat that Luton have. It's probably their best move of the second half. It's probably the first time they've actually got into Sunderland's half in this second 45 minutes. Just looking before, Nigel, I don't know if you picked up on it, but Alex Pritchard, who's not really played a lot of football lately, was running down into the touchline, and he just looked as if his legs were going away from him a little bit. I think Tony Mowbray will certainly be looking at that within the next 5 to 10 minutes to possibly make a change, just to freshen things up.
Well, the bench is basically youngsters. I mean, Edouard Michou, the youngster on loan from Paris Saint-Germain, would probably be the option to replace him.
Yeah, or Lihaj is another one that you could probably have a look at. Michou probably more so plays in that central midfield area, but there's certainly going to be a time in this game where Tony's going to have to make those changes. We talked about the freshness of these Luton Town players, 8 players who didn't play at the weekend. It will certainly show in the final 20-25 minutes of this game.
A reminder, the two main headlines so far today: Southampton relegated from the Premier League, and Notts County promoted back to the Football League after a dramatic playoff final with Chesterfield. They came back to equalise twice and then won the shootout. Archie Mayer, the young goalkeeper on loan from Norwich, brought on 4 penalties, saved 2, and despite John Bostock penenkering a shot against the crossbar when he had a shot to win it, Chedwin Evans, who missed that crucial penalty for Notts County in the game they lost against Wrexham towards the end of the season kept his nerve this time to send Notts County back into the Football League. And considering they got 107 points, nothing against Chesterfield at all, but that's probably about right.
No, absolutely, Nige. I mean, they found it difficult in the semi-final playoff, didn't they, where they had to come from 2 goals behind. So it's been a brilliant story. I know it's been about Wrexham, hasn't it, throughout the whole of the season because of the owners, but 107 points in the goals that they've got this season. I think everybody's thoroughly thrilled to pieces that Notts County have got another opportunity to go higher in the leagues.
But I would not want to be a Chesterfield fan tonight. Having been in that position as a fan, losing that final feels like relegation.
Awful. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a horrible situation to be in, but we know the situation. This is why we love and hate the playoffs, I suppose.
Gooch now wide to this near side. 2 teams here today looking to return to the Premier League, and for Luton to get into the Premier League for the first time. They were relegated on the final day of the 1992 season, lost at Notts County and missed out on being a founder member of the Premier League. And of course Sunderland have had their Premier League years mainly towards the bottom of the table, although they did have their moments in the sun when you were in the side, and of course relegated in 2017 and went straight through to League One and had some very hard years in the 3rd tier before coming back last season. Patterson swings a clearance away on this near side for Sunderland. 52 minutes played here on TalkSport 2. 1-1 at the Stadium of Light as a challenge comes in on Gelhardt on the halfway line, and it will be a free kick for Sunderland, and they have been the better side since the break.
They have, no question about that. Gabe O'Shaw just making a foul there on Joe Gelhardt yet again on that centre circle line. And they've just been a little bit frustrated, the away side, in this second half. They've had one real opportunity of breaking forward down that left-hand side, but the quality just wasn't there. And Sunderland's possession certainly got a lot better in the second half. They're taking care of the passing a little bit better than they were in that first half.
Sunderland have not won away to Sunderland, the Luton have not won away to Sunderland since September of 1973. And 3 days previously, Sunderland were in Budapest playing their first game in the Cup Winners' Cup, having won the FA Cup the previous season when they beat Luton at Roker Park in the quarter-finals.
It's just unbelievable, isn't it? I mean, you would think that most sides would come in that time and pick up one win on the way, but it's just incredible stat.
18 games since for Luton, and they've never been victorious, but they led for a long time in the first half here. O'Shaw with a high cross into the penalty area, nodded down again by Morris, who was winning everything inside the penalty area, but this time he can't direct it to a dark blue shirt, and Sunderland will clear the ball away. 53 minutes played on TalkSport 2. We have Salford against Stockport coming up from the League 2 playoffs at 7:45. Every single playoff game live and exclusive to national radio on the TalkSport network. And we have some big games coming up from the Premier League as well over the next few days, notably Leicester against Liverpool coming up live on Monday night, only on TalkSport, following draws earlier on today for both Leeds and Nottingham Forest.
Still very difficult nights to pick the bottom 3 in the Premier League, isn't it? Seems to change every single week, and points are just so vital right now.
Big game for Everton tomorrow against Manchester City. That will be featured in the Sunday session. Live from Wembley with Sam Matterface. Of course, it's the Women's FA Cup final tomorrow between Chelsea and Manchester United after Notts County were successful there today. Busy time for the National Stadium, and of course we will be there for the FA Cup final and the playoff finals. The only place you can hear all those games is here on TalkSport. As Sunderland win a free kick on the far side, a rash challenge from Doughty on, I think it's Gelhardt, or a long way. Roberts, I think it is the player who's gone down.
Yeah, silly foul there from Doughty. No chance of winning the ball. Yeah, Diallo just on the ground there, but the wing-backs just, he knows he's not going to win that ball. Diallo's always favourite. Just stand your ground as a defender and do your job properly.
We are a long way from the action here, right at the back of the main stand at the Stadium of Light. A high ball played forward again for Sunderland, which is meat and drink for players like Tom Lockyer, and he guides it back towards his goalkeeper Anthony Patterson.
You can certainly see that physical presence of what Ross Stewart would actually bring to this Sunderland side, and they've got some wonderful ball players, technically very gifted, but you need that man up top to stick the ball in the back of the net, and Unfortunately, Joe Geldart, he hasn't got the physical presence of a Ross Stewart or an Ellis Sims who was here at the early part of the season. And that's where they're just falling short, the home side. They can't get it into Geldart's feet. They can't actually get him involved in the game.
And they were the first team since Leicester back in 2013 to reach the playoffs in the Championship with fewer than 70 points. And they were the real outsiders on the final day. And they were helped in by Tony Mowbray's former club Blackburn Rovers coming from 3-1 down to win at Millwall. I was covering that game and that was an extraordinary afternoon.
I bet it was. I didn't think Blackburn had 4 goals in them from what I'd seen in the previous weeks, Nige, but Brereton Diaz certainly came up with the goods for Sunderland.
In what's probably his final game for Blackburn as Dramo plays a low ball into the penalty area for Luton, overhit and behind for a goal kick. And long time to go in this game, Mickey.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I think a draw would probably suit both teams.
Well, it would, yeah. I mean, it gives Tony Mowbray and his players the opportunity of a couple of more days to maybe have a look, and maybe, I'm not too sure what the injury problem is with the centre-halves, but they need a bit more physical presence in that central area, because I can just see Luton at home with the home advantage of the crowd. Very tight ground, as you were talking in the build-up to this game. You can just see the tactics working in their favour. But I have to say, Sunderland, since they got the equalising goal, they look comfortable in possession. They look as if they're enjoying themselves. And Rob Edwards is probably having a look now, thinking himself, right, I need to change something up here.
And they do have more depth on the bench in terms of experience and players they could throw on. And Rob Edwards is just sending a member of his backroom team back towards those sat down and sending out a couple to warm up here as Lockyer, a walking pace, plays it into the path of Carlton Morris. 20 league goals for him this season, and now wide to the far side and Doughty. But again, it's a poor ball forward, and Luton have just failed to switch on the passing radar since half-time. But now Sunderland have given the ball away, and here is Doughty again, coming in field from the left-hand side, finding Clark, and it's a good ball to pick out Morris, who's got time to break into the penalty area, barge through a couple of challenges. He goes down, then there's an air shot from Clark as the ball looped up, and Ekwar has almost given the ball away to Doughty, and in the end Sunderland will clear with Pritchard on the far side. He's been bowled over by Bell, and it will be a free kick, but Carlton Morris is now down for Luton inside the penalty area, and that will be a concern for them.
Oh, absolutely. 20-goal man down on the ground. Initially did ever so well. He picked that ball up just outside of the penalty area and he drove in, got away from his marker, but I think it was Luke O'Nien who came across, and it was a crunching challenge. He was just trying to pull his right foot back to get his shot away. Great defending in the end. I don't think it was a penalty, I have to say. A couple of the Luton players are starting to wave their arms around. Well, not for me, it would have been a very soft penalty if given.
And you're listening to Sunderland against Luton in the EFL Championship playoff semi-final, live on TalkSport 2 with Carling, the UK's #1 lager. 18 plus, please drink responsibly. Oh, a dreadful crossfield ball from Roberts now, straight to Clark, who can come forward for Luton inside the penalty area, but he in turn has given the ball away to Ekwar, and it's a very scrappy period of the game. Ekwar has given it straight to Lockyer, and the central defender charges forward, wide towards Doughty again on the far side, but a good challenge coming in from Hume, who went to ground and won the ball cleanly. Now Diallo with the back heel to release Roberts. Roberts has got support from Neil. And here is Clark now for Sunderland on this near side, but no real support, and Drama just sizes him up, makes the challenge, and Sunderland have a throw in front of the technical area, and Tony Mowbray very animated to have words with Lyndon Gooch on his way back out onto the pitch.
Yeah, well, these silly mistakes from either side is certain times in games where you can find yourself being punished, and they're both making it at the moment. It's gotten really scrappy over the last 3 or 4 minutes. Sunderland can't get out of their own half. They keep giving the ball away. Ekwar on 3 or 4 occasions. Luton doing exactly the same thing. Jordan Clark, I think, was the player who was giving the ball away for Luton Town, but somebody just needs to get a stranglehold of the game in the next couple of minutes and make something happen for your team.
And we have two teams here with very poor playoff records, although Sunderland ended their long wait for a victory at the 7th attempt against Wycombe in the League One final last season. Clark now coming forward. The challenge comes in from Drama, and the final touch was off Clark as the ball rebounded over the byline, and it will be a goal kick. Luton in their 4th EFL campaign They've lost 3 times in the National League, and they've never won a game in an EFL playoff. 3 draws at home and 3 defeats away from home, so that could change here tonight as it stands. Sunderland, of course, playing in their 4th playoff in 5 seasons, and they were one of the few teams relegated in the playoffs when they lost to Tony Cascarino's Reading, and they went into the 3rd tier for the first time in their history back in 1987, but that was before your time.
Yes, it was, Nigel, yeah, but that's what I said, you know, either love or hate the playoffs. It can be the best day in your life, or it can certainly be the worst, and I think you've been through the worst. I've been through the worst.
Well, yeah. I mean, I would say that you came back better than I did anyway. Roberts coming forward now for Sunderland. Roberts with a low shot. Did it take a deflection? It did, and it's gone behind for a corner kick.
Well, they've been a real threat on that right-hand side with Roberts and Diallo. Just need Jack Clark to get involved in the game a little bit more on this left-hand side, but great play again from Roberts. Loves coming in on the left foot and getting his strike away. Just gives Sunderland another opportunity from this corner, and last one went straight into the box and easily cleared. I'm just wondering whether I'm going to try and play this one short, Nigel, because the long ball into the box is just not working for them.
Pritchard will look to play it short to Clark, and they're claiming that Jordan Clark is not the requisite distance, but it's played back towards Diallo, and now back towards Diallo again, onto the left foot, looks to break into the penalty area, instead goes wide towards Clark now. He will try and take on Drammer. Right-footed ball into the penalty area. Oh, the header is in, and Sunderland have taken the lead. A great header at the near post from Patrick Roberts. And it's Luton Town, of all people, who were caught out by a headed goal inside the penalty area. Brilliantly made on this near side by Clark. And Patrick Roberts with a very sharp header. And Sunderland have come from behind here. And Luton Town, who have not lost away from home since December, are behind. It is Sunderland 2, Luton Town 1.
Well, we talked about those corners and how important it was not just to whip it into the area, but when that ball comes over to the left-hand side, they win that little short corner. Great play from Jack Clark, and he just whips it towards that near post. And Patrick Roberts just gets away from his mark. He doesn't have to leap. He just has to guide it into the corner. The pace is on the cross. What a superb header. And now we've got an idiot on the pitch just to spoil things, Nigel.
It was Trey Hume, I think, who got the final touch in the end. He and Roberts went for the ball, and Hume was the player who guided the ball in. And Trey Hume, with only 1 goal previously this season, has come up with the biggest goal of his life here.
Oh, incredible. Absolutely incredible. I say it's very difficult to see the numbers on shirts from where we're doing the commentary from, Nigel, but absolutely fantastic from Trey Hume. Super finish to give Sunderland the lead. They came from behind. They've got to hang on to it now.
Well, the idiot who got onto the field of play has finally been taken away, and I think he believes he's something of a hero, but the reaction of the Sunderland crowd tells you something different.
I just don't want to see it at football grounds. Individual idiots. Needs to get out of this football stadium as quick as he possibly can. The police have got hold of him, and let's hope that he's
time.
Not come at all.
But Sunderland lead here by 2 goals to 1. Now Hume, a high ball forward again from him, looking for Diallo, who looks to bring it down, and in the end it's given away, and we wonder why they were playing those short corners all day, and finally we've discovered why.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you can see it, Nigel. When they put the ball into the area first time, Luton have just cleared their lines. It's too easy for them. So they have to work that little short corner, and it's great play from Jack Clark, who I don't think's had the best game, I've got to be completely honest with you, but when he whipped it onto his right foot, you could see the runners of Roberts and Hume trying to get towards that near post, and it's a wonderful header.
Now Ekwah charging forward again towards the edge of the box. Adebayo brings him down, and Sunderland have a free kick. And Luton Town have not really got started since half-time, and since the equalising goal from Diallo late in the first half, they have been second best.
You would think they'd be fresher as well, which really surprises me, you know, when you think about those changes they made in that final day of the season. I'm not seeing it from these Luton players. And in the back of your mind as a Sunderland player, Nigel, when you're a goal down, you're thinking, don't concede the second. Now it's Luton's mindset that's got to change now, and they've got a great opportunity here, Sunderland, from this free kick to add to the lead that they have.
65 minutes played. Sunderland 2, Luton 1. Will be off to the Peninsula Stadium shortly for team news ahead of Salford against Stockport in the League 2 playoffs. But Sunderland here pushing hard for a third goal. Diallo over the free kick again, and it's from a very similar position from the area from which they scored the opening goal. Pritchard and Diallo are over it once again. And Pritchard could just roll this one short to Diallo to let fly. But in the end, it's left for Diallo to hit it, and this time he gets underneath it, and it's over the top. So let's go for team news. Salford against Stockport in the League 2 playoff semi-finals, and say good evening to Mark Wilson.
Yeah, good evening, Nigel. Salford make one change. Conor McElhaney comes in for Louis Barry. There are two changes for Stockport, who are going to change to 4 at the back. Lewis and Alafe are out. Evans and Byrne come in. Live at the Peninsula Stadium. Straight after you, it's Salford against Stockport.
Thank you, Mark. Sunderland here are jubilant, leading by 2-1, and they would take this now. There's the clearance from Gooch on this near side, rebounds off Drammer, and it's behind for a goal kick.
Well, which manager's going to put his cards on the table first, because players are given absolutely everything. It looked like Luton and Rob Edwards were going to make a couple of changes. I think he might have changed his mind there, Nigel. But Tony Mowbray's got to be looking at his squad, tiring legs. Such a slog this season. Those players on the bench, albeit young and inexperienced, he's going to have to throw them on at some point.
Now Clark in towards Geldhart, laid off neatly for Pritchard. Good football from Sunderland on this near side, but Osho comes back to break things up, and it's all the way back towards Ethan Horvath once again. Sunderland looking to beat Luton for the first time since December. The Hatters have not been beaten since a 2-1 defeat at Middlesbrough, as Pritchard plays it forward again looking for Geldhart, and as soon as he played that ball he was down on his haunches.
Yeah, absolutely. You could see it was a tired pass, wasn't it? Pritchard, even Joe Geldhart, well, he hasn't really been involved in the game. He just looks a little bit leggy at the moment.
Lockyer for Luton Town, having scored the opening goal here, but now they trail with 68 minutes played, and the next goal in this tie is absolutely crucial. That could be the decisive one.
Yeah, I mean, it's massive at the moment for Sunderland even to take a goal deficit, but you can imagine if they can get themselves another one. Going back to Luton on Tuesday will be absolutely key, because we know the goal threat that Luton have got at any point in the game. Well, certainly plenty of time for them to get themselves back on level terms here when you look at the quality that they've got in those forward positions, and even in just behind them as well with Mpanzu and Clark. They have got quality.
And you're listening to Sunderland against Luton in the EFL Championship playoff semi-final, live on TalkSport 2 with Carling, the UK's #1 lager, 18 plus. Please drink responsibly. And there is a break in play once again, and now it is in Sunderland's interest really to try and slow the game down, leading by 2-1, having come from behind. Goals either side of half-time from Amad Diallo and Trey Hume. Now Ekwar again, still full of energy, looking to lead the fight. He's challenged, but the ball squirts into the path of Clark. On this near side, Clark will try and take on his man, break into the penalty area. He's challenged by Drammer, and the ball has gone behind for a corner kick.
It's been a really good battle, Drammer and Jack Clark. Drammer defensively has been on top of Jack Clark, but in the last few minutes, setting up a goal, this time going on the outside, just trying to flick that ball into the area. Again, Drammer just got himself back on side. I think he was a bit disappointed it was actually given as a corner. But you can see the way they're setting up again, Nigel, exactly the same way the goal came from.
Pritchard again, plays it short towards Clark, rolls the ball under his studs and then curls it high towards the far post. It's headed away as far as Ekwar. Ekwar lets fly, but he was challenged well by Osho, and now the volley comes in from Neil. It's a looper, and it's just over the top.
Well, it just wouldn't settle, would it, for Dan Neil? And even Ekwar, he's took an age to get his strike away. As that ball's fallen down, you know you're going to get closed down and pressed. And you can see the Luton players coming out and making themselves as big as they possibly can. And again, it's Luton who are now not clear on the lines from set pieces, which is a real concern.
Luton finished 11 points ahead of Sunderland in the regular season, but they're 2-1 down here as Pritchard looks to play in Diallo again on this near side, the left, but it's cleared away by Drammer, who is working overtime at the moment because every Sunderland attack comes on this near side as Gooch wins it back from Adebayo. And now Hume plays a raking ball wide to the far side. Roberts in pursuit, but he won't keep that ball in play. But it does ensure that Luton will have to restart very close to their own goal.
Yeah, when he got the opportunity to break out, because eventually Luton give the ball away. But again, super defending from Drama. And then a hold-up play of Carlton Morris up front. Just that little chest flick inside. Very clever.
And there was going to be a change here, and it's Cody Drammer who is coming off, and Fred Onyedinma is coming on, so it could be a switch to 4 at the back for Luton, although it does seem that Onyedinma, who is better known as an attacking midfielder, could slot in here as the right wing back.
Yeah, it could be a change in system, Nigel, or as I said before, just to freshen things up. Well, energy in those wide positions were absolutely key going into the later stages of this match.
Onyedinma has been promoted via the playoffs with both Wycombe and Millwall previously in his career, as an excellent challenge comes in on this near side from Lyndon Gooch on Jordan Clark, and then he gets up and waves his fist towards the crowd on this near side to try and G them up.
What a challenge. It's certainly one that he had to get right, Lyndon Gooch, and he did so. Fully committed. Jordan Clark just looked as if trying to flick the ball around Lyndon Gooch there, but excellent defending.
18 minutes to play. Sunderland 2, Luton 1 on TalkSport 2. We have Salford against Stockport coming up straight after this game on the day that Southampton were relegated from the Premier League and Notts County promoted back to the Football League. As Hume on the far side clips it over the top looking for Diallo. It's an excellent ball. He's brought the ball down. He was caught on the far side by Nakamba, but play continues, and now Roberts driving forward towards the edge of the box. He's gone down again, and this time the free kick has been given. The challenge by Doughty, and Doughty will receive a yellow card.
He turned his back, Doughty. I think he knew exactly what was coming there. Again, super play from Patrick Roberts. I think there was initially an earlier foul on Diallo, still actually on the ground now. Everybody hopes that he's okay. His teammates are waving the physio on, but this is a dangerous area again now. It looks as if it's a little bit closer than what the initial free kick a couple of minutes ago, which the actual Diallo took. I'm just wondering whether it's just a little bit too far out. You've got to get a lot of pace and dip on this ball to beat Horvath in that Luton Town goal. But the momentum certainly with the home side now.
And maybe they can sense that they can put this tie, if not beyond Luton here, but make it very difficult for them heading to Kenilworth Road in the second leg, live on TalkSport on Tuesday night. We have Coventry against Middlesbrough, the other semi-final coming up live on TalkSport tomorrow at noon with Adrian Durham, Ian Danta and Chris Awellamo. Bradford against Carlisle, the other League Two playoff semi-final, will be with Mark Wilson and Neil Redfern on TalkSport 2 tomorrow night. And then on Monday night we have Leicester against Liverpool. Ahmad Diallo is back on his feet, but he's hobbling away to the far side. Injuries have been an occupational hazard for Tony Mowbray this season.
You can ill afford to have any more, and certainly to one of your star players, if not your star player. A little bit jaded, Ahmad Diallo there, but he's back on his feet. Looks as if he's going to come back onto the pitch, which is great news. You can hear the applause from the home support as well. Back to this free kick, and I'm sure they want to try and get him on the pitch to maybe take this.
Well, Pritchard is over it. He looks absolutely shattered. Many Sunderland players do now. It will be a fairly tight turnaround for them with the second leg coming up on Tuesday night.
Yeah, it's a big concern, that, isn't it? Your rest and recuperation after this game is so key. Get your feet up.
Well, Diallo still waiting to come back on, so Pritchard is over the free kick, high towards the far post, and in the end it's just beyond a lunging Clark, and it's gone behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, just tried to whip that one in with a lot of pace. Was never going to have height on it. Again, there you can see the Sunderland players still committed and trying to get on the end of a really good ball in from Pritchard. Just had a little bit too much pace on that one.
But home wins have been a rarity for Sunderland recently. 39 of their 69 points came away from home. And they only have the 16th best home record in the Championship this season. 7 wins, 9 draws and 7 defeats, but the playoffs, it is all about what you do on the day.
Yeah, no, absolutely, Nigel. And so far, so good. If you're a Sunderland player, they're getting the job done. Home form has been a real concern this season. 30 points they picked up at home, which, when you think about on the scale of things, it's not good enough, but
mid-table,
being able to creep into the playoffs, which was absolutely massive on that final day.
Now, Onyedinma Dinma on this near side. Has support from Clark. Clark then clips it into the penalty area, but it's cleared away by O'Nien and taken down by Diallo, who is back on the field of play. He pirouettes, he's got support from Pritchard on his outside, and then Clark again with the challenge. And it's another yellow card for Luton. Jordan Clark this time, and so many Luton players at the moment are lunging in for balls they've got no chance of winning.
Yeah, you're completely right, and they have to be careful. Last thing they want is to be going down to 10 men going into the final stages of this first tie in the playoff semi-final. And Jordan Clark, I mean, it's great play from Diallo to get away from his marker, and I think Clark just knew, again on that centre circle line.
Clark again's been caught by Nakamba, has he? Well, it seemed to be a foul, but this time the referee allows play to continue.
Wow. Well, that's a bit bizarre for me.
Well, Tony Mowbray can't believe it, and I have sympathy with that.
Absolutely. I mean, Jack Clark's in a fantastic position. He's got away from his man. He's got no reason to go to ground whatsoever, and there's even an apology. I think it's Amari Bell who's made the foul, putting his arm up towards Jack Clark to say, look, I'm sorry, I did catch you, but the referee's just let play go on, and you can see.
Well, it was Nakamba, and he's on a yellow card.
Maybe that's why he's got away with it, Nigel. Look, I mean, as a player...
Well, a free kick's a free kick, though, isn't it?
Correct. He's got to give the foul, which it was a foul. You can hear the crowd. Jack Clark's gone to ground. If he's got a big decision to make, the referee, then he's got to pick out his yellow card again.
Gelhardt. Poor ball from him, wide to the far side. 12 minutes to play on TalkSport 2. Sunderland 2, Luton 1, and Carlton Morris, who we've barely seen in the second half, has been penalised for handball inside the centre circle. And this has been a very un-Luton-like performance from the Hatters in the second half.
It has, and they just can't get the service up to Morris and Adebayo up front, and that's why I think Rob needs to change things up and give his side a chance to get back on level terms. Well, I'm just watching Morris at the moment. He's limping a little bit now. I don't know if he just got a little whack on his calf and he's going to run it off, but just if he was limping a little bit.
Now Clark turns away from Osho on this near side, breaks into the penalty area, pulls it back. Lockyer makes the challenge, and the ball spun back off Clark behind for a goal kick.
Well, they're getting in behind them, Sunderland, too much now. This back line of Luton Town in between the centre halves and full backs. Jack Clark certainly growing into the game. It's like he's been given a licence to go and play a little bit further forward, and he's enjoying himself more.
Well, Luke Berry is coming on now for Luton, replacing Jordan Clark. One of those players on a yellow card. Luke Berry joined them when they were down in League Two, looking to make the leap from the 4th tier to the top tier, former Cambridge United player. And he is on now. And Luton dropped 27 points from winning positions this season. And of course, no points on offer here today, but they did hold the lead for a long time in the first half.
Yeah, it's, you know, all these stats, they all build up throughout the whole of the season, and it's certainly something that you look at and what you need to get better at. Oh.
Now Morris lets fly from 30 yards, have nothing else on as he gathered the ball under pressure, and it's over the top, but really it was worth a go. But he's hobbling, he's not happy.
He's got a problem, Nigel, hasn't he? You can see, I think it's his Achilles or his calf. He's just stopping now. He can sense he's got a problem. That's probably why he took the shot on. Look, you're completely right. There was nobody in front of him. So he did have to take that strike on, but he's got a problem.
And now, on the far side, Patrick Roberts is down as well. And so both medical teams are on, although Morris has ushered them away. And 12 months ago, Elijah Adebayo was injured for Luton for the playoffs, and they really missed him because he was the main striker then. He scored all the goals. And of course, Morris has taken on that role here this season.
If Morris has a problem now, Nigel, well, with the remaining minutes of this game, you go off. You get it sorted out so you're okay for the midweek, you know, the second tie, which is more important. He's got a problem and he's only going to make it worse. He's down there now, he's holding his knee, his calf, his Achilles tendon. He's just pulled his ankle up to his backside, stretching off his thigh. He's feeling it. You just need to say to the manager, look, I've got a problem at the moment. I'm better off coming off now and bringing somebody else on who's a little bit fresher than I am.
Well, Patrick Roberts is coming off for Sunderland, and Niall Huggins is coming on. The Welsh under-21 international signed from Leeds. He has had one previous league appearance this season at Birmingham back in November. He's had terrible problems with injuries, and he's coming on now in a playoff semi-final.
Wow, what a massive occasion for Niall Huggins here, just drifting over to that right-hand side. Patrick Roberts has just ran himself into the ground. Been absolutely outstanding today. But it gives Huggins the opportunity, get some game time, get some experience. And what an experience this must be, playing in front of this crowd today.
And we have 9 minutes to play here on TalkSport 2. Salford against Stockport coming up from the League 2 playoffs at 7:45. Sunderland leading here 2-1, but Luton coming forward. It's flicked into the penalty area by Morris, and now the shot on the far side from Adebayo, but it's cleared away by Diallo, and then Gelhardt tries to hold the ball up, and it breaks kindly for Hume, who at the moment is the match winner here. Neal lays it wide to the far side, and Huggins, it's a 1-2 from him. 46,060, the crowd here today at the Stadium of Light.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Great crowd. Played their part in the game so far, no question of that.
The biggest crowd in the Championship this season. Now Hume plays it forward. Gooch on the edge of the penalty area, in towards Gelhardt. Laid wide towards Gooch again. He's got support from Clark. Gooch may think about playing the ball in field. Pritchard still gathers, still on the field of play. Alex Pritchard.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Barely moving.
Levels. Been absolutely fantastic, given absolutely everything, as all the players have from both teams. You know how important this game is and what's at stake at the end of the two games.
Ekwa on this near side. Sunderland, of course, have been to Wembley a number of times in recent years, in playoffs and Papa John's finals, but this will be something different. Pritchard now on the edge of the penalty area, goes down, but I think he was looking to manufacture the contact as the challenge came in from Onyedinma, but Luton have given the ball away again. Ekwa forward towards Gelhardt, he goes down on the edge of the box, looked to be a good challenge by Nakamba. Nakamba's lost out though to Diallo. Diallo riding the challenges, and he's still going, works a 1-2. Diallo then goes down inside the penalty area, and he will be booked for diving.
Well, I actually don't think it was a dive, Nigel. I think he just ran out of steam. Amad Diallo, he was involved in the play on a couple of occasions, and when he got himself into the box, I think he just lost his footing and went to ground, but he has been given that yellow card. He's apologising to the referee. But again, it's Sunderland. When they get round the edge of the penalty area, they're very clever. They've got some clever players, but the ball did actually fall to Gelhardt on two occasions, and he looked really scrappy. He looked really tired, as if he had nothing left.
Horvath clears downfield from the free kick for Luton. 6.5 minutes to play here on TalkSport 2, and that's a heavy challenge on this near side from Osho, who's done well to avoid a yellow card so far today. Pritchard, the player who has gone down, and he continues to avoid a yellow card.
Yeah, he's not going to get booked for that challenge. I mean, it would have been harsh. Yes, he brought Pritchard down on that halfway line. Well, you can see the players now. I think they're just hoping and praying that the referee blows his whistle, because they look as if they've just got nothing in the tank.
Clark from the free kick almost wins it back on this near side. Tangles with Onyedinma, and in the end it's a throw-in to Luton. And Luton need to keep in touch. No team in the Championship has ever overturned more than a one-goal deficit. Of course, we've had a number of sides come back from a goal down in recent years and go on to eventually win promotion, but at the moment this tie is really in the balance, with Sunderland leading 2-1 coming towards the end of their home leg, with the match coming up live on TalkSport at Kenilworth Road on Tuesday. Clark challenged on this near side. Again, it was really attractive football between Clark and Pritchard as they tried to work the ball around, and really that guile is what has taken them away from Luton in the second half.
It has, and I have to say, I mean, I expected more from Luton in the second half. The fresher legs, the more confidence, you could say, from finishing third in the division. But I've been disappointed, I have to say. I don't think they've showed enough. They've not been able to get the ball up to Adebayo or Morris in this second half.
Now Ekwa looking to win it back from Nakamba, who was backpedaling. And the Canberra's given the ball away. Here is Ekwar again, and Diallo breaking forward now for Sunderland. He's got support from Pritchard on the edge of the penalty area, but it's cut out by Berry, and Luton will clear.
Such an open game. It's end to end, but there's a lot of sloppy play as well, I have to say, but there's so many gaps. Just need to find and dig deep for that little bit of energy that you've got left in your body and come up with that bit of quality.
Well, we saw 6th beat 3rd in League One last night, and in the Championship we're about to see a repeat scoreline here, not as emphatically as Peterborough's victory over Sheffield Wednesday, but it would be an important victory here for Sunderland, needless to say, as more players go down, I think, with cramp. And there was an opportunity for both coaches to bring their players in.
Well, you can see the gels are being thrown on, Nigel, and the energy drinks, basically because the players are just flat out. They've got nothing left to give. So this is a real little respite for them, just to give them that little bit of a pep talk from your manager and your coaches, either to see out the game if you're Sunderland, or how Luton can possibly break Sunderland down and get themselves back on level terms in this final 5 minutes of normal time.
Well, Luton have not really had a shot in the second half, have they? Have not really had a shot since the equalising goal.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, well, the one I can think of is the Carlton Morris opportunity, which was in the second half, but that was from about 30 yards out. And I think it just shows the way that Luton have been. They've tried to played nice football in the midfield area, but when they tried to get the ball into that final third, Amari Bell I've expected more from. I love watching him play, and I think he's great when he gets into the opposition's half. He's got a great left foot, but we've never really seen him get past the halfway line. And again, I keep going on about the two forward players, Adebayo and Morris. Look, they've just not been able to grow into the game at all because the quality's not been there for them.
Rhys Burke is coming on to replace Alfie Doughty for Luton for the closing 2.5 minutes here. As Clark returns the ball to Ethan Horvath on this near side. And he will hammer the ball long for Luton, but Sunderland have done a really good job of nullifying Luton's approach in the second half. At times in the first half, they could have been swept away by it.
Yeah, you were just thinking, when's the next goal going to come from a Luton perspective in that first, 35, 40 minutes. Looked a real threat from set pieces, and they were getting the forward players involved. You could see that Jordan Clark, when he was on the pitch, was trying to burst forward. And also in Panzu as well. They looked a real threat and looked at as if they had the better quality, but the more the game's grown, Sunderland got themselves back on level terms. It was only them who wanted to go on and win the game by the looks of things.
Horvath clears the ball long again. Pritchard is down on this near side. I don't think he can continue here.
No, he's basically been shattered for the last 15 or 20 minutes. I think he's just gone down and sat on the ground because his hamstrings have probably just tightened up that much.
And Tony Mowbray wants to make the change, and Abdullah Ba, another teenager, will be coming on when there is a break in play. Luton looking to attack here, but Diallo brings the ball clear. But Luton quickly win it back, and Sunderland here are down to 10 players with Pritchard out of the game.
Well, there's boos and jeers, but if you're a Luton player, you're not going to kick the ball out to let Sunderland make a substitute, so they've just got to carry on until this ball does go out.
Osho charging forward now into the penalty area, but the ball in is a poor one, and it's claimed by Patterson. And now the treatment will be waved on as we enter the 89th minute here.
Yeah, there's a change. I mean, they're going to make that change, aren't they? I think they're just trying to tick a little bit of time away here by the physio coming on and treating Alex Pritchard on the pitch, when I think they know they can basically just walk off. But then Barr's going to come on the field for the final few minutes. Very talented midfield player.
And he will come off the bench for the 20th time this season. Abdullah Ba, French under-20 international. And the home crowd rise to acclaim Alex Pritchard. And he's hobbling, and you wonder at this stage whether we'll see him on Tuesday.
It's difficult, Nigel. I mean, you think about the recovery. I mean, it's ice bath, straight into that physiotherapist room and just get the treatment that you need. And I keep going back to this, you've got to rest up. You've just got to try and instill that energy back into you in the next couple of days, because he's so key, Alex Pritchard. He's such a clever player. he'd be a huge miss. So he's not played a lot of game time over the last couple of months, and I'm really surprised he's actually still out there now, albeit just come off the pitch now.
Almost given away by Sunderland on the edge of their own penalty area, but O'Nien will clear. Now Gelhardt infield again towards Barr. First opportunity for him to attack. Of course, fresh legs, but he forgets to take the ball with him. And Berry wins it back now for Luton. Wide to this near side, but Jack Clark was back defending well. And he slides into Rob Onyedinma. And it will be a throw into Luton on this near side. We are into a minimum, I think, 8 more minutes here.
Well, this is the moment for Luton Town, knowing that Sunderland players are absolutely shattered. They've freshened things up, couple of changes. Well, it was pretty much like the first half where Sunderland didn't really have that goal threat. It's now Luton Town who've not really had it in this second half, but you just want that moment. And there's certainly enough time for them to get that chance.
Sunderland 2, Luton Town 1 here on TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL playoffs. Salford against Stockport coming up from League 2 at 7:45. And it's cleared downfield again by Patterson. And not a clear on this near side by Burke. And at the moment, Sunderland, well, their fans would greet this, I think, almost like a semi-final victory, but there is still a lot of hard work to do.
Yes, there is. And you can see there's no rush in taking these throw-ins now. From the home side, they're just trying to tick time away as much as they possibly can, keep hold of that ball, sap the energy out of these Luton Town players as much as you possibly can, knowing in under or just over 48 hours there's going to be another 90-minute slog.
Now Clark charging forward on this near side. He's bowled over by Onyedinma, and it will be a free kick here for Sunderland.
Yeah, same thing. Very good play from Jack Clark. He's fantastic with that ball at his feet. He makes up so much ground. And Onyedinma, he's got the wrong side of him. Just a little shove on Jack's shoulder there. He had to go to ground. And again, you know, there's no rush. You probably try and play this around and try and play it around the corners. Just keep hold of that ball as much as you can.
O'Nien all the way back towards Anthony Patterson. 23 years of age this week. And he's played every single minute in his first full season as the Sunderland #1. Now Hume. Clips it over the top, looking for Diallo. Lockyer's clearance only falls to Diallo again. He can now look to break towards the edge of the penalty area. And he's got support from Huggins. Huggins hugging the touchline. Now Barr finding Diallo again. And Sunderland here looking to play keep ball deep inside the Luton half. And we have just over 3 minutes of added time to play here. Sunderland leading 2-1 on TalkSport 2. And it looks like they'll be taking a crucial lead to Kenilworth Road.
And Luton need to get this ball forward as quick as they possibly can, running out of minutes to find that equalising goal.
Now an opportunity for Barr to break forward again, but Berry comes back to make the challenge. Barr has gone down, but it's played down the line by Gelhardt looking for Clark. It spins in field, but in the end, the whistle has gone and a free kick's been given to Luton.
Yeah, Jack Clark just going to ground there. Made a bit of contact. Onyedinma on this right-hand side. I talked about Luton being direct and just getting that ball into Sunderland's half. Horvath is the goalkeeper. He's the one who's come up to take this long free kick. And that's all they have to do in these final few minutes.
Horvath bangs it long downfield again. And the ball's allowed to bounce on the edge of the penalty area before Neil gets the ball clear. Gelhardt with a back heel. And it's played over the top from Neil, looking for Diallo. Oh, the ball almost misjudged by Bell, but he got lucky there as it spun away from Diallo, and Bell is able to recover and find his goalkeeper.
Wow, I mean, that's heart and mouth stuff, isn't it? If you're Amari Bell. Didn't really get control of that touch as the ball was coming out of the air when Diallo's just hunting you down.
90 seconds of added time to play here. A long ball played forward again for Luton. Hacked away, though, by Clark up to the halfway line. Diallo was all on his own, but he's got there on the far side before Bell. And in the end, he was looking for the support from Huggins, but it's quickly cut out by Nakamba. And the Zimbabwean has it now on the halfway line. Gelhardt makes the challenge, but it's played forward again by Luton, up towards the edge of the penalty area. Cleared away, though, by Clark, who's had an excellent game defensively as well as going forward. Now, Berry on the edge of the box for Luton, but O'Nien wins it back. It's hammered away by Ekwa. Smashes his teammate Gelhardt in the face, but then Sunderland win it back. But now a free kick's been conceded by Ekwa for a challenge on Bell, and Luton here maybe have one final chance to load the ball into the penalty area.
Well, this is their moment. The game has just become so sloppy because the players have got nothing left. They're absolutely out on their feet. They're so tired. Given this free kick away in Sunderland's half, you can see how many bodies Luton have brought forward. You need that bit of quality. We've been asking for it in the whole of this second 45 minutes. It's not been there, but this could be the moment.
Nakamba will take the free kick. Everybody back here for Sunderland in the 96th minute. High to the far post. Morris wins the header back into the 6-yard area. It's not being cleared. Driven in though by Bell, but blocked on the edge of the 6-yard box. Berry tries to win it back. Lockyer keeps it alive. Ekwa heads it away wide to the far side, and the full-time whistle goes. And Tony Mowbray's patched up, precocious team have a first leg lead in their quest for the Premier League. Luton Town led for long spells in the first half, but from the moment Ahmed Diallo scored the equaliser, this was Sunderland's night. Trey Hume came up with the winning goal, and Sunderland will travel to Kenilworth Road with a 2-1 lead for the second leg. Luton with their first away defeat since December, only Sunderland's second home victory in 9 games, but on the night they deserved it. It has finished Sunderland 2, Luton Town 1.
Thank you, Nigel Adderley, alongside Mickey Gray here at the Stadium of Light. And Mickey, we were talking at half-time about how Sunderland could be quite sloppy in the first half. They ended the first half with the momentum, and it feels like, I mean, Luton didn't really come out in that second half. It was all Sunderland. All the chances out there were falling to the home team, and the sloppy passes were coming from the visitors.
Yeah, they were. They never really come out, did they, for that second 45 minutes, which was a huge surprise. But full credit to Sunderland. They stuck to the game plan. They kept playing that pretty football, albeit there was glittered with a few little mistakes in there, but they got the job done.